Chapter 19. Now, more than ever, determination and urgency coursed through Annika's veins, pumping it to every part of her body. She had to clear Celia. Back inside the police station, with papers rustling, phones ringing, and people brushing past her, she spotted Detective Harrison jogging for the stairs. "Detective!" she called. He shot a glance her direction. "Hey, kid, I really can't talk right now. What is it?" "Oh, can I look at Patrick's personal effects?" "Yeah, Sergeant Phillips can help you." He pointed. "His name's on the door." She nodded, watching him disappear down the flight of stairs. Lord, please protect him. This is such a scary and dangerous job sometimes. Heading to the other side of the precinct, she knocked on an open door. "Sergeant Phillips?" The gray-headed man turned to her. "Yes, ma'am." "Hi, I'm Annika Vanta. I'm a PI working on the Gould murder. Can I see the victim's personal effects?" "Oh, yeah, you're Harrison's friend, right?" She smiled. "Yes, sir." "Sure, let me get him. This way." Walking down the hall, he pulled out an envelope from the row of bronze shelves, stuffed full of more envelopes of personal effects from other cases. "He talks about you a lot, you know." "Detective Harrison?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. The other day he said you're like the daughter he never had." Touched, Annika put a hand to her chest. "That's so sweet." He handed her the manila envelope. "And I never said that." He winked. "Said what?" She smiled and raised the effects in farewell. "Thanks, appreciate it." "Sure thing. When you're finished, just put it back on the shelf. Don't rush on my account, though." He sauntered back to his office, so much more relaxed compared to the chaos he was walking into. Annika dumped the contents onto an unoccupied desk. Patrick's wallet caught her eye, and she grabbed it. First thing she noticed was a picture. Dressed for success at the office, probably for a party, Patrick smiled at the camera, but there was a darkness, a depth in those eyes. Celia embraced him, her hand on his chest. Annika wedged the picture out and found another snapshot hidden behind the one she held. At a restaurant, Patrick grinned, cheek to cheek with Laura. $322 in cash, a few credit cards, and receipts were all that remained. She went through the receipts. All belonged to expensive stores, some to restaurants. Setting the wallet aside, Annika moved on. His passport with a stunning profile picture. Annika hated her passport picture. His checkbook. She skimmed through that. Nothing too important. His phone, though Annika had already examined it with Detective Harrison. A gold pen. A pocket knife. But no glasses. Annika sighed. She had been chasing a red herring. The glasses must have been Patrick's, broken during the struggle. Then she picked up the passport again. Why was this in his pocket and not in his safe? "I was just doing my job, Detective," Laura snapped. "Why are you asking me questions again anyway? I was already grilled by Mr. Fuller." "Grilled? What was he questioning you about?" "He was asking all of his girls the same things. If we had helped Patrick embezzle from the company." "Yeah, right. Like I want to get in that kind of trouble." Laura pushed her hair over her shoulder. "I'm head of accounting," she continued. "Paying for business trips and ad campaigns is what I do. Paying for Patrick's trip was not out of the ordinary. Even though he was headed out of the country, he had his passport on him when he died. We checked the flight records. He had a ticket to Buenos Aires scheduled for Friday morning, but someone killed him the night before. You're telling me you didn't suspect anything when he asked you to book that flight?" Laura shook her head, red earrings swishing. "No, I did not suspect him. I trusted him. Detective Harrison pinned her with a weary but steady gaze, a stern gaze. Laura began to squirm. Arms overflowing with papers and files, I freeze when I see Patrick typing at my computer. "Hey, what are you doing here?" I ask in a smooth voice, setting the paperwork down as gracefully as possible. He glances at me, his hair flicking in an adorable way. "Just double-checking my numbers for the Thompson account. Gotta stay within budget." "You know I would have done that for you." I touch his shoulder, hoping to get another positive response. Grinning, he turns to me and rises to his full height of tall, dark, and handsome. "Well, you seemed busy. I didn't want to bother you." "You never bother me." Our eyes lock. Patrick gently takes my chin in his hand. "Good to know." But with footsteps approaching, he takes a step back and drops his hand, stuffing it in his pocket. "Can I get you a cup of coffee?" I ask, suddenly short of breath. "Sure. You know how I like it." He winks. Heart in my throat, I swallow it down where it belongs and fix his coffee. 1 sugar, 1 cream. It's times like these that thrill me, yet torture me. I long to have these moments with him every day, everywhere, not only when it comes down to accounting. But it's better than nothing. I have to be content with our brief encounters throughout the week. I know he still feels something for me. I know he does. But for how long can I continue this charade? Should I quit and hope to find another job? Hope for a renewal in our relationship? Pick up where we left off? But no, I can't risk it. I need this job. I know he does too. Otherwise, he wouldn't have broken things off with me. The memory faded, and Laura spoke in a defeated voice. Patrick and I used to date, but Mr. Fuller has a strict no-dating policy here. Brian, that little weasel, saw me and Patrick having dinner one night at a restaurant. He threatened to tell Fuller unless we broke up or unless one of us quit. But Patrick was dedicated to his work, and this is a really well-paying job. So he broke things off with me. He told me to not quit, that I needed to take care of myself. But then right away, Patrick picked up that blonde, as if I never meant anything to him. Annika glanced down, focusing on her notebook. Laura had been feeling just as insecure as Celia had been, maybe more. I missed him, Laura continued. I missed what we had. So I shut my eyes when he came around to the accounting department more than anyone else. I hoped that he was coming around to see me. I would notice him on my computer as I walked in, and he always had an answer, and I didn't want to tell him no, so I just went with it. I paid for invoices that now I realize he surely typed up himself. And with his trip, it raised a red flag when he said he was going out of the country, but I was just glad it was a ticket for one. She sighed and put up her hands in a final gesture. And that's it. None of us girls were helping him steal. That's the truth. He stole $252,000 from the company, the detective murmured, and gets a ticket to Buenos Aires. He faced Annika, realization penetrating. We know he had the $52,000 in his safe. He may have transferred the $200,000 to a bank account in Buenos Aires. Right, Annika agreed. Laura adjusted the stapler next to her computer, her anger-coated shield gone. I suppose Patrick was planning to get out of here before the company audit was completed. By the time they figured it out, he would be gone. Annika folded her arms across her chest. He wasn't coming back. Serving Cameron a cup of peppermint tea, Annika smiled. This tea should have the most flavor out of all of them. He took a sniff. Ooh, the smell alone is strong. Clears the sinuses. Blowing on it, he took a sip and smacked his lips. Okay, it's the best out of all the other teas you forced down me. It's no coffee, though. She smiled sympathetically. So, how have you been feeling? You think the new diet is helping? You seem better. Do I? He grinned. Actually, yeah, I have been feeling better. More focused, more like me. She squealed and squeezed him tightly. Woo! Praise God! I'm so happy your dad is able to help you. I know, right? I'm so happy my girlfriend was willing to get the ball rolling. He locked gazes with her. My pleasure, she said softly. He kissed her hand. So, how's the case coming along? How's Celia? She's hanging in there. I told her I would talk to the group, see if we could raise the money for her bail. But I'm hoping I can finish this case before it comes to that. That close, huh? Well, yes and no. Some days I think I've found the answer, and then I realize I've been chasing a dead end, a cold lead, and I'm like, why did I get my PI license? I can't do this. Cameron laughed. I can understand that. Like, I recently went through Patrick's personal effects. Thought I might be onto something, but I wasn't. Although it helped us gain some perspective on Patrick and the people he worked with. And it may have given us a clue to where he stored all the money he embezzled. Really? Yeah. Here, I'll show you. She sat beside him. Grabbing her phone, Annika scrolled through her pictures. She stopped once she found the one of Patrick's personal effects. So we found his passport. We questioned one of the girls in accounting. Found out Patrick was going to take the money and skip town. Cameron had a sip of the tea. That looks like an expensive pen, he commented, pointing at the screen. I'm sure it is, knowing Patrick. Her eyebrows furrowed. Wait a second. She zoomed in, squinting at the items. Jones and Associates was engraved in the middle of that pen. Cameron, when Celia and I went to Patrick's house, I used an identical pen to take notes. Afterward, I put it in one of the kitchen drawers. Cameron stared at her. Uh-huh, he prompted. Each guy from Fuller Advertising on the Jones account only got one pen. So who did this pen belong to, and why was it in Patrick's pocket? Or better yet, whose pen was the pen in Patrick's home? Annika approached the accounting department of Fuller Advertising and flashed her business card. Excuse me. The girl faced her and folded her hands together. Hi there. How can I help you? Hi, I'm P.I. Annika Vienta. I'm assisting Detective Harrison on the murder case. The girl nodded. Oh, right. How's that going? Have you caught the bad guy yet? Annika laughed. Not yet, but we're getting close, and you may be able to help me. The girl's eyes lit up. Could I have a list of everyone in the company who received gold pens? Gold pens? Her brow furrowed, eyeshadow sparkling. Yes, I have a picture. She pulled out her phone and showed the screen to the girl. Oh, Mr. Jones! Yes, he gave several of the men gold pens to show his appreciation. He's been a client for years, and we were starting to worry he was going to stop doing business with us, but... Her voice trailed off as her aqua nails dashed across the keyboard. Let's see. She hummed and clicked her tongue. Every guy who was on the account got a really fancy gold pen, and the girls got these super pretty gold earrings. She pulled back her thick hair for Annika to see. Aren't they gorgeous? Annika smiled. Very. 24 carats! She turned her attention back to the computer. Okay, here we go. Let me print you out a copy, doll. Annika suppressed a laugh. This girl was probably her age and addressed her as a little sister or daughter. Barely met and already getting a nickname. That was Texas for you. The paper slipped out and the girl handed it to her. There you go, my dear. Thank you so much. My pleasure. Does that help? She scanned the list, name by name, line by line, and her heart swelled with adrenaline. It most certainly does. Fantastic! Wait till I tell the girls I helped solve an actual murder. With a laugh, Annika waved. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Annika left the building, her legs burning as she power-walked to her car. Sure enough, there were 2 names on that sheet of paper that screamed at her, grabbed her by the throat, and wouldn't let go. John Fuller, Brian Blake. 2 of their prime suspects. Brian glanced at the raven-haired girl walking by. Isn't that the P.I. who was poking around, asking questions with that cop? I think it was, Fuller said. Kelly, who was that you were talking to? Miss Annika Vienta. I believe I helped her solve the murder case. Fuller folded his arms across his chest. I beg your pardon? What did you do exactly? She asked for a copy of all the guys who received a gold pen from Mr. Jones. I gave her a list of the names. Brian opened his mouth, but no words came out. Why didn't you think to ask me before you start handing out company information to strangers? Fuller demanded. Kelly straightened some papers on her desk. Sir, you told us to give them our full cooperation.